Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot believe that this is the 40th WrestleMania.
Right here is symbolic of what it's all about. This is the world's heavyweight title. And when I say this, I mean it in all sincerity. The world's heavyweight title, held by Harley Race.
WrestleMania has been the biggest wrestling event in the world for decades. But it wasn't always that way. In fact, the concept of WrestleMania was directly created as a competitor to the event we will discuss today. Starrcade, originally an event by the NWA alongside Jim Crockett Promotions, revolutionized the concept of wrestling in many aspects. It was the first major event in wrestling history to popularize the idea of pay-per-view in the context of cable television, setting a standard that had never been exploited until then, and that continues to be a part of wrestling shows today with the premium live events. Starrcade also revolutionized match cards at shows, being an event where 26 wrestlers participated either in the ring or in other roles like referees or support, including Ric Flair, Ricky Steamboat, Carlos Colon, Bob Orton, the Briscoe Brothers, Harley Race, among others. Today we will review the first edition of Starrcade that took place in 1983, 2 years before WrestleMania, match by match, and try to give you my sincere opinion. We start with the first match. The Assassins vs. Rufus Jones and Bugsy McGraw. This match was fun to watch, but still aged poorly. The first part of the match was the most interesting to watch since they countered each other a lot and the general pace of the match didn't get slow. However, when McGraw tagged his partner Rufus Jones, the pace of the match was really affected and became stiff as hell. Second match, Johnny Weaver and Scott McGhee vs. Kevin Sullivan and Mark Lewin. Another tag team match was up for the second combat of the night. From the start you can tell that this was a lot better than the previous one. I noticed that every wrestler here was kinda more relevant just because of the reactions of the crowd, the moves they did, and how they developed the entire match, with a lot of holds, drop kicks, and using the ropes. On a first instance, the team of Sullivan and Lewin was dominating for great part of the match. After the match, something crazy and really unexpected happened. Both teams were involved in a brawl where Scott McGhee delivered a nice dropkick to the manager of the winning team. The manager pulls out a kind of a weapon from his boot.
And he is in a bad way after being attacked by Lewin and Sullivan with that object.
But Colon pulls out a stabbing weapon and attacks Abdullah, who bleeds immediately. I really didn't realize if this match was no disqualification or something, but the referee sees everything and does nothing. Colon keeps dominating Abdullah with a leg drop and an elbow drop to cover him, but Abdullah kicks out, harming the ref, who receives an elbow drop from Abdullah himself to knock him out. Colon keeps the pace and gets Abdullah into a submission hold. Then, for some reason, Hugo Savinovic, the iconic Spanish announcer, hits him in the head with something. Abdullah covers Colon to finally win. Bro, what the hell? This match was really short, but I really enjoyed it. It was not as good as the second match, but it was nice. I give it a 7 out of 10.
Our next event of the evening is a one-fall match, tag team match with a 45-minute time limit.
Bob Orton Jr., father of Randy Orton, and Dick Slater vs. Mark Youngblood and Wahoo McDaniel with Dusty Rhodes as guest. The third tag team match of the night, but hey, this match was really good. We could see a large variety of moves, backbreakers, neckbreakers, holds, submissions, nice tag team action, and stunts outside the ring. I don't have much to say about this match, just that this is good old wrestling, and maybe, if you only watch nowadays wrestling, this match would be entertaining to you. Charlie Brown vs. the Great Kabuki for the NWA World Television Championship. Finally, a championship match at the halfway of the event, this being a title versus mask match and both wrestlers having a unique gimmick that I haven't seen until this part of the show. I can tell that Asuka got a lot of inspiration from the Great Kabuki, not just because of the name, but because of the green mist stuff and the face painting as well. This match made me realize that at this time, Disqualification wasn't really common since we got moves involving chairs and low blows just in the start. However, the match gets really boring. Both wrestlers execute submission holds for really long periods of time, and it's practically nothing interesting to see.
What he's been through.
Now, I know that I can't judge these matches with current standards. That's why some previous matches got high score, but this one is just boring. The match is 10 minutes long, but it feels like 30. Nice start, but bad development and bad ending. For me, this is a 3 out of 10.
Throughout the duration of this event.
Sixth match, Roddy Piper versus Greg Valentine on a dog collar match for the NWA United States Championship, the same United States Championship that we now have in WWE. Alright, this stipulation is weird. The dog collar match consists on having both contenders chained to each other around the neck with a dog collar. I also didn't know what to expect from this match, but it wasn't bad at all. Both contenders used the chain as a weapon in very creative ways with low blows, choking, crushing the head with the chain. I'm sure it wasn't something you would see very often, and the crowd was really enjoying it. Throughout the match we could see other stunts with chairs and the crowd fence. It was really extreme, and it's probably the most equalized match of the night. The ending was still not good enough to our modern standards, but it is what it is, and the match was great. For now, the second title that changes hands during the night, and my favorite match till now, I give it a 9 out of 10.
Special referee for this event, wrestling great Angelo Mosca.
Seventh match, Ricky Steamboat and Jay Youngblood versus Jack and Jerry Briscoe for the NWA World Tag Team Championship, special guest referee Angelo Mosca. And the last tag team match of the show. I'm not gonna lie, at this time it was kinda bothering me watching so many tag team matches, but at least it was for the World Tag Team Championship. I can't really stand out this match. At least for me, it wasn't that enjoyable. I could easily say that Ricky Steamboat was the best of this match in general. He showed a lot of interesting moves. But the truth is that the wrestling that I have been seeing through all the show is not as exciting as we could see on a show nowadays, even though that's pretty obvious. It's safe to say that the style of the majority of wrestlers is the same, and the fact that nobody having a finisher really makes the matches monotonous. But back to the subject, this match was nothing better than the other tag team matches on this show. It was better than the opener though. I give it a 6 out of 10. Eighth match in the main event, Ric Flair versus Harley Race for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship on a steel cage match. Finally, after watching 2 hours of this, it's time for the main event. The first thing that I noticed is that both wrestlers had an entrance. The match commenced really physical with a lot of holds that lasted minutes. The match got better with the time. We even got to see a couple of pile drivers, a suplex, and a pair of other moves. Since it was a steel cage match, both contenders used the cage to harm the opponent, especially Harley Race, who got Ric Flair bleeding on the first minutes of the match. After a hard-fought battle, Ric Flair delivers a big moment when he does a body press from the top rope to cover Harley and win the World Championship.
Ric Flair has done it. No question about it. Ric Flair has just defeated 7 times World Heavyweight Champion Harley Race.
After the match, a lot of the other wrestlers that we saw on the night show up to congratulate Ric for his victory, and he gives a little speech to thank the people who assisted to the show on a very emotional segment. After he leaves the cage, the show is over. This match is the one that lasted the most, and it feels like that. It had some epic moments, but in general it still was rigid and very physical, so I give this a solid 7 out of 10. After the experience of watching this show, I think that the conclusions I have are pretty obvious, and, probably, you could apply it to every wrestling show from this era. But because this is the very first show of its kind, and because it's the precursor of everything we know and enjoy, less polished and less perfection, I think it was not bad at all. In fact, I believe that this event was peak for its time. I managed to enjoy most of the matches, even though the only kind of wrestling I watch is mostly from the current and the 2010 era. I respect and thank everything that happened here and all the positive consequences that this event brought to the wrestling business, but don't get confused. I don't really recommend to watch this show nowadays, since even Jimmy vs. Jey Uso at WrestleMania 40 was more exciting than most of these matches. It's a different type of wrestling, it is slower and stiffer, and basically less entertaining than everything you could watch right now in every company in the world. The final qualification for this show is a 7 out of 10. I don't have anything else to say. Thank you for watching. Feel free to leave your comments below and recommend me other shows to review. Peace.